Allow me to talk about my case, and above all I ask for your help. I apologize in advance for my way of writing, but I am not a writer or anything like that. Let me tell you that my husband and I have 2 children, one 18 years old and one 10 years old. We live quietly, we are middle class, and even so sometimes we have some worries about economic issues. The truth is that we are a happy family. My oldest son is just starting university. He is an athlete on his school team, a good student. Now at university he lives about 2 hours from our house, but he comes whenever he can because he misses us a lot. I'm very proud of it, but there's something about him that worries me, in a terrible way. I'm going to explain to you. I usually sleep very late, around 3 in the morning, always finishing my work in our living room. A few weeks ago I worked at that time with all the normality in the world. From the armchair that I use I can see our stairs to the 2nd floor. The house has wooden floors, and just so that you keep it in mind, don't, it's big. I heard a sound on the wood of the 2nd floor. I immediately realized that someone had gotten up. Footsteps were heard going down the stairs. I recognized the footsteps of my eldest son. I asked him if he had insomnia or needed something, but he didn't answer me. He kept going down the stairs very slowly. I was confused that there was no response from him. He went down to the second half of the stairs, and now I could see him completely. When what I saw almost made me faint. If you guys get scared easily, maybe you shouldn't listen the following. I have never seen anything like this. His eyes were wide open, almost bulging, in an inhuman way. His pupils had disappeared. His eyes were completely white and his head was not right, as his neck seemed to be thrown to one side. His hands were clenched in a claw shape and trembling, a bit like trying very hard to keep them in that position. I adore my son with all my heart, but I could not bear the terror that seeing him like that caused me. I got up to go to the guest room, and when I stood up I noticed my presence. He turned his head towards me and smiled at me. He smiled and looked at me with his white eyes in the most horrible way I've ever seen. I felt that he was about to run towards me. I managed to hide in the guest room and I'll be safe. I heard his footsteps wandering around the house for 20 or 30 minutes until he returned to his room. I spent the night locked up there, and in the morning he was completely normal. This afternoon he returned to school. I thought to myself that maybe it was just the stress, the problems he might have at university. I told my husband what had happened and he said the same thing. We thought he would be better this December vacation, but things are not getting better. He came back home this week. He will be here enjoying his free time. I thought that would do the trick. Anyway, now I decided to work in one of the rooms upstairs, not in the living room like I usually do, and I had the door locked tight, just to be sure. Around 3 in the morning I listened. It happened again. I called my eldest son by name, but he didn't respond. The footsteps stopped for about 20 seconds, and then I heard how they were heading towards the room where I was. I fixed my gaze on the lock, making sure it was closed. I was extremely nervous. Although I was about 3 meters from the door, I clearly heard someone's breathing on the other side of the door, as if they were glued to it. I heard them breathing there for 5 minutes. And then I speak for the first time in these episodes of sleepwalking. "Mother, I'm thirsty," he said, but with a deep, different voice, followed by what seemed to be another voice. It's as if there were several voices speaking through him. He never calls me mother, only mother. I really got confused. I didn't answer. There was silence. Even my breathing stopped for several minutes. "Mother, I'm hungry," he said again, his voice, and now with knocks on the door. I was caught off guard. I put on my headphones and tried to ignore it. They were doing it until I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. I noticed his fingers trying to enter through the crack under the door, almost as if he was trying to get completely into the room through there. My heart almost jumped out of my chest for the fear that it gave me. I was very afraid to open the door. My son is almost 190 centimeters taller than my husband. I was afraid that he would hurt me. After a while I returned to his room. I don't know what this means. I don't know what I have to do. I told my husband again, but he still thinks that I exaggerate, that it is something minor. I will do my best to write how this situation develops in the coming weeks. Thank you for accepting to read and accept my story. Also, if there is someone from your audience who can help me, I will be very grateful for your support. I really need it. Thank you.